The lake whispers your name. The lake whispers your name.
Look, I never meant to find those bodies in Lake Michigan. I was just trying to pull off my own fake drowning, you know? But shit got real weird, real fast. I'm Mike Callahan. And yeah, I'm that asshole basketball coach from Traverse City who tried to disappear back in July. 3 kids, decent wife, good job training high school kids to shoot hoops. But I had my reasons. That life insurance policy wasn't even my original plan. The bodies changed everything. Let me back up. I'd spent 6 months planning this thing, researched everything, water depths, decomposition rates, border crossing tricks, Lake Michigan's deep enough to hide secrets. That's what I thought I needed, just depth and darkness. Man, I was stupid. July 15th, I told Sarah I was going for my morning swim. Did that every day, so nothing suspicious. Except this time, I had a dry bag hidden in the rocks, with cash, clothes, and a second passport. The plan was simple: swim out, disappear, let the current take my clothes to shore, catch a bus to Toronto, then fly to Moldova, clean break. But about half a mile out, I saw something floating. Thought it was driftwood at first. It wasn't. It was a hand. Bloated, pale, reaching up through that early morning mist like it was trying to grab the sky. And hell, I'm a good swimmer, been doing open water for years, but something about that hand made me freeze up. That's when I noticed the pattern. Bodies, 7 of them, arranged in a perfect circle, floating just below the surface. All face down, all holding hands, like some kind of messed up underwater tea party. I almost screamed, but here's the thing about being a guy who's supposed to be dead. You can't exactly report finding other dead people. And that's when I saw the 8th body rising up from below, except this one. This one was moving. And it wasn't dead. Not even close. Its face was wrong. Human-shaped, sure, but the eyes... Christ, the eyes were like looking into Lake Michigan itself. Dark and deep and aware. It grabbed my ankle, and the water around us went cold enough to make my bones ache. That's when it spoke, not with a mouth. The thing's face was smooth where a mouth should be. But inside my head. It showed me things. The other bodies, local swimmers, all reported missing over the past decade. It offered me a deal. Said I could have my new life, my clean break. All I had to do was find it another one, another faker, another fraud. Said it needed 8 to complete the circle, like some kind of twisted underwater MLM scheme. I took the deal. What choice did I have? Death, or become death's recruiter? So yeah, I made it to Moldova, got my good evening I'm safe video to the cops back home. Let them find the evidence on my laptop, the life insurance policy, the research, all that crap. Better they think I'm just another scumbag who abandoned his family than know the truth. But here's the real kicker. I've got 6 months left to find the next one, someone planning their own disappearing act. The thing in the lake, it left a mark, a cold spot over my heart that gets colder every time I meet someone with that look in their eyes. That I want to vanish look. I can spot them now. It's like a 6th sense. And the coldness? It's spreading. Started at my heart, now it's in my whole chest. Some mornings, I wake up and my breath fogs the air, even when it's 80 degrees out. I dream about the circle of bodies, except now they're all standing upright, swaying with the current, waiting for number 8. There's this guy at my local bar in Chisinau, keeps talking about his life insurance, his plans to go hiking in the Carpathians. The cold spot pulses every time he speaks. I know what I have to do. God help me, I know exactly what I have to do. Because if I don't find number 8 by winter, I'll become part of that circle myself. And you know what's worse? Part of me is starting to think that wouldn't be such a bad thing. So if you're reading this, if you're thinking about pulling your own disappearing act, don't. The water's full of frauds like us, and we're always recruiting. His name was Peter, insurance salesman from Connecticut, wife, 2 kids, gambling debt, classic profile. I watched him for 3 weeks, nursing flat beers at that dimly lit bar while he talked about his hiking trip. The cold spot in my chest practically hummed every time he mentioned Lake Michigan. I should have felt guilty, should have warned him. Instead, I helped him plan it. Water's warmer near South Haven, I told him one night. Deeper too, better chances. The thing in the lake approved. I could feel it in the way the cold spread pleasantly through my limbs. Peter disappeared on a Tuesday. The local papers back home ran the story. Connecticut man missing in Lake Michigan. Search parties found his clothes, his wallet, his carefully planned evidence trail. Amateur. I was there, watching from the shore at 4 a.m. when it happened. Saw him swim out, confident, just like I had been. Saw the circle of hands rise up around him. Saw him realize too late what true disappearance means. The thing in the lake kept its word. The cold spot vanished. I was free. But freedom's got a funny taste when you've helped drag someone into an underwater grave. I started noticing things. My reflection ripples even in still water. Fish go quiet when I walk past. And sometimes, when I wake up at night, my sheets are damp with lake water. Yesterday, I got a text from an unknown number, just coordinates and a name, and that familiar cold spot bloomed in my chest again. Turns out you don't just retire from this job. The circle always needs new members, and now I understand why that thing chose me. There's a difference between wanting to disappear and helping others disappear. One is cowardice, the other is art. I'm booking a flight back to Michigan tomorrow. There's an accountant in Lansing who's been researching water pressure and body decomposition. The cold spot tells me she's almost ready. The thing in the lake is getting hungry again. And so am I. Her name was Rachel. Midwestern neat. Pressed pantsuits. Color-coded spreadsheets. The kind of person who planned her own death like it was just another tax return. But she got sloppy. Left her browser history uncleared. Drowning statistics, Lake Michigan. How to abandon identity. Water temperature, South Haven, October. The cold spot pulled me to her office after hours, found her insurance policy taped under her desk drawer, $5 million. Smart girl. She'd waited the full 2 years since purchase. I didn't even have to convince her. Just sat down, smiled, and said, "The lake's better in the early morning." No witnesses. She knew what I was, what I represented. You can see it in their eyes when they realize. That moment when they understand there's someone else who knows. Someone else who's danced with the deep. "Tonight," she whispered. The cold spread through my chest like ice crystals blooming. We drove in silence. The lake was black glass under a pregnant moon. 7 pale hands broke the surface as we waded in, forming a perfect circle, waiting. Rachel didn't scream, didn't fight, just smiled as the hands pulled her down, like she was finally going home. But something was different this time. The circle didn't close, the hands stayed up waiting. That's when I felt it. Not a cold spot anymore, but a deep, liquid chill consuming me whole. See, I finally figured it out. Why the thing in the lake chose me. Why it made me find the others. It wasn't collecting bodies, it was completing a transformation. As I write this, my skin is turning glossy, smooth. The spaces between my fingers are webbing over. That knot mouth is growing in, spreading across my face like ice on a pond. The circle needs 9, not 8, and I was always meant to be the last. The lake is calling, the others are waiting. And God help me, I can't wait to show the next desperate soul how to really disappear.